Hey there. I'm gonna try to keep this video quick. I just wanted to touch on an idea that I think has kind of been like around a lot of the stuff that I've been saying in my videos, and it's something that's come up on discussion boards and stuff like that. But it's about the idea of audience, about who is the audience of a paper. This is kind of one of the big things that composition is interested in, is taking us more towards like an audience-centered way of writing, where a big idea in composition is that you have to have an idea of who your audience is to write an effective essay. And maybe the add-on to that for when we're writing for school is that you can't think of your audience as just your professor. I think that this is how we normally think about it, right? We write for the teacher, we write for a grade, and that's fine sometimes. But ultimately, that's going to get you into a way of writing that is just following rules and checking boxes and, just trying to show the teacher that you can do what you're told. And that might get us good grades sometimes. I think less so in college, probably. I think that could get you good grades, in high school. But I think that, to do higher level academic writing, we need to change this focus. We can't just be trying to jump through the hoops the teacher wants us to. There's a number of reasons. Like at the highest level, academic essays, like they're written for a wider audience. So like the the best writers who write these essays, they're not doing it for a grade. They're doing it to make a contribution to whatever discipline, whatever field they're studying in, and they're writing for other experts in their field, right? Like, if you're writing an article about literature for a journal, you're thinking that other people who have studied literature and have degrees in it are going to be the ones who read it, right? So you're writing for them. Um, Yes. So, okay, another problem with writing for the teacher. When you're trying to write for a teacher, something that happens is that every teacher wants something different, and sometimes they don't really know what they want themselves, or sometimes a single teacher changes what they want throughout the semester. So, if all you're doing is trying to write to like for that teacher that you're trying to write towards the grade, then you're going to find that the goalposts keep moving, right? That what someone wants keeps changing. Some people care about this, some people care about that. So I think the better way, and maybe you have to find out a little bit about some of your individual professors, like that'll happen. But I think the more foolproof way is to not try to target what you're writing to the specific teacher, but to write it for a larger audience, like I've been saying. Now, for our class, I would suggest you think of your audience as your peers or your classmates or, yourself, also people like yourself. So they're the people that you want to have in mind when you're writing. Don't like think too much about me, because then you're going to get in your own head and you're going to think, oh, what is he looking for? How does he want me to do it? And then your writing can ends up being like, more robotic. I think this is like one of the ways that we fall into writing in a way that's like mechanical or like boring, right? Because we're just trying to follow the rules. We're not actually trying to communicate with a reader or to convince somebody or like to engage somebody and hold their attention and make them interested. So yeah, I think by expanding who we think of as our audience, we can write in a way that is more convincing, more truthful, more entertaining. Like the other thing too is that when think about it from the point of view of the professor, like when they're reading 20 essays or more at a time, they don't want them to be all just kind of like mechanical and robotic sounding. Like I think professors will appreciate kind of a fresh approach to writing. um, so yeah, don't just think about them when you're writing it, think about a larger audience. Now, like I said, since this is kind of introductory classes, I think it makes sense for us to take our peers as people we're writing for. As you move up, this will change. As you're in higher level classes, then yeah, you'll be writing, for whatever your field is, for experts in that field, you'll be writing more like an expert for other experts. But right now, let's just focus on reaching a more general audience, right? So like some things that you want to think about is like, what is your audience going to know? Like, are they going to know what certain words mean? What kind of historical information might you have to give them, or what kind of historical information can you expect them to know? And these are all calculations that we have to kind of make ourselves. And like in terms of tone, like what kind of tone or like when we talk about writing in dialect or something like that, like what kind of way of writing do you think is going to reach this reader in the best way? Maybe it's not using the fanciest vocab word you can think of. Maybe it's actually better to be straightforward and to the point and stuff like that. Or maybe it's okay to like make jokes sometimes, or try to write something funny if it's possible, depending what kind of essay you're writing. Maybe that's a bridge too far. But yeah, you just want to think about how can you reach this group of people who you are writing for. Don't try to put yourself through the trials of thinking what's in my head and what do I want and what am I looking for. Think more about how can you communicate with a larger audience and what's going to be convincing and engaging to them. I think this can help a lot. I think it can help with things like writer's block. I think it can take some of the pressure off. And I think it can help us get our priorities straight, right? Whereas not having our number one priorities be grammar, like that's what happens when we're thinking too much about the teacher. Is that all we focus too much on grammar and commas and spelling and these types of things over organization and argument and how convincing it is, right? Because we're usually not really concerned about convincing our professors, that they usually have pretty strong opinions. Um, but you have to think about convincing your audience if you're writing an argument essay, if you're going to write a good one, if you're going to write one that's going to get a high grade. So expand who you think of as your audience. Think about a larger group. I think ultimately it's going to make the writing more pleasurable and also better ultimately. And write for yourself also. Like write in something that like you think is cool or you think is a good argument or you think is persuasive. That's a good place to start as well. Okay, well, I hope this helps a little bit. See you later.